Let me ask you something. Are you still waiting for the UI to be built before you can even start testing? If the answer is yes, you're losing a ton of valuable time and money. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a much smarter way to test that will completely change how you build software.
Oh, yeah, we have all been there. It's that painful, slow motion process of just waiting for the user interface to be ready, only to finally start testing and immediately find huge critical bugs way too late in the game. It's a frustrating cycle, right?
Now, just look at this. On the left, you've got the old way, slow, fragile, and always late. That's the world of UI-based testing. But on the right, that's the smart way, fast, stable, and super early. That's API testing. And believe me, this isn't just some small technical change. It's a total shift in how we think about quality.
To really get why this is such a game changer, let's step away from the code for a second and walk into a busy restaurant. I promise, this one simple analogy is going to make everything click into place.
So think of your application just like a restaurant. The customer, that's your user. The waiter, who takes the order and brings you the food, well, that's your user interface. The kitchen, the backend, that's where all the real work happens. But the most crucial part, the one you never see, is that digital ordering system that connects the waiter to the kitchen, and that is your API. So here is the million-dollar question. If your steak comes out burnt, do you blame the waiter who just brought it to the table? Of course not. The problem is either in the kitchen or, more likely, it was the ordering system that sent the wrong instructions in the first place. This right here is the absolute key to understanding API testing. And this is where the light bulb should go off. Instead of waiting to see what the waiter brings out, we go straight to the source. We test that digital order system, the API, to make 100% sure the correct instructions are getting to the kitchen every single time. Okay, so now that we get the what, let's talk about the why. Why does this simple little shift in focus change absolutely everything? Let's break down the core value. All right, so here's the formal definition. API testing is not about clicking buttons. It's about going under the hood, directly to the engine of your application, the business logic layer, and making sure the core rules and functions are rock solid, long before a user interface even exists. This really is your new superpower. I mean, imagine finding critical bugs weeks, not days, before anyone else would. Imagine getting test results back in seconds, not hours. This idea of testing earlier is called shift left. You're literally shifting your testing way over to the left on the project timeline. You become a hero to your team, saving everyone time, money, and a lot of headaches. And I'm serious. When you're the one who consistently catches those huge defects before they become a real disaster, you become an incredibly valuable asset. This is the kind of skill that gets you noticed. All right, enough talk. Let's get our hands dirty with a little bit of code. I'm going to show you just how simple it is to write your very first API test. And hey, don't worry if you're not a coding genius. I'll walk you through every single step. Okay, here we have a super simple API test in Python. First, you see we import requests. That's a really popular library for, well, making HTTP requests. Next, we define a function for our test. Inside that function, we use requests.get to shoot a GET request to our API's user endpoint. The API then sends a response right back, which we catch in that response variable. Simple, right? Now, pay close attention to those last two lines, the assert statements. This is where the magic really happens. First, we check that the status code is 200, which basically means success. But we don't stop there. We also check that the response body, the actual data, contains what we're looking for. In this case, a user list. And here's an insider tip that's going to immediately put you ahead of 90% of people starting out. Most beginners, they only check the status code. But the top pros know that's not nearly enough. You have to validate the response body too to make sure you're getting the right data back. This one tiny habit makes your tests infinitely more powerful. So now that you've seen what a good test looks like, let's talk about this single biggest rookie mistake that almost everyone makes when they're first starting out. The most common pitfall, by a long shot, is only testing for success. You know, you send some valid data, you get a 200 OK back, and you call it a day. But what happens when a user sends a bad ID? Or a password that's way too short, or maybe a request that's missing the authentication it needs? You see, true quality engineering isn't just about confirming that things work. It's about intentionally trying to break them. Testing these negative scenarios and weird edge cases, that's where the most critical production-stopping bugs are always hiding. So whatever you do, do not skip this part. Whew, all right, we've covered a ton. So let's boil it all down to the 3 essential takeaways you need to remember. Think of this as your core playbook for success. Number 1, focus on the business logic. Test the kitchen's ordering system, not just the waiter. Number 2, shift left. Always find ways to test earlier. That's where you'll make the biggest impact. And finally, number 3, automate your checks. This is what gives you that fast, consistent feedback you need to build quality at scale. And I am not exaggerating here. If you can truly master these 3 principles and apply them every day, you will immediately launch yourself into the top tier of quality professionals in this field. So here's your homework. Go back to your project right now and find just one critical feature that you can test at the API layer. Start small and build from there. In our next explainer, we're going to take this to the next level and show you how to fully automate these tests for even faster feedback. You are not going to want to miss it.